Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're taking a look at the KIZUNA clash that will be coming for the after party 9th anniversary against Luffy and Ace, bringing along their 6+, the long-awaited 6+ of Luffy and Ace is finally here, and we have our regular KIZUNA 10-star events that we're going to break down today. In today's video, we're talking about the Marco teams. Now, this is a prime time to get EXP because this is the perfect KIZUNA to be utilizing the suicide strat. With no super boss means no potion spending, and make sure you are holding on to those precious items because potions should only be spent in super boss. Now, that means to get these skulls, you're going to have to do a lot of assists because ideally you shouldn't be summoning on the Dofi and Croc banner either, which means getting tickets is going to be a little bit more challenging. Now, I am going to do a separate video with more ticket games utilizing Dofi Croc and not using Dofi Croc and all that sort of stuff. But in today's video, we're focusing on the assists of Marco. So if you need the ticket team, I'll leave it a link in the description. But the idea is you want to jump in with a friend captain, Dofi and Croc, in your regular runs, and then you want to die. You want to just leave the quest. Then you just put up an assist, and your teammates can actually do that to gain tickets as well with the ticket gain teams. Or, if you're on top of your timers, you can do Marco teams. And this is what I like to do by building up EXP, so I don't have to farm it regularly. You guys can farm, like, Hime Turtles, and I get that, but, like, I'm just not a fan of that. So I like to farm EXP here. So if you're looking for Marco teams, you came to the right place. Now, you guys have a look on the screen while I've been rambling away. We have the infographic. Huge shout out to the OPTC Twitter for the information provided. And if you guys want to go check them out, build some teams for yourselves, basically this helps out a ton. But if you enjoy the video, if this video helps you guys out, belt the like button. Let me know if you use Marco teams in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, you haven't done so already, hit that big red subscribe button. It helps me out a great deal, and like 50% of you guys aren't subbed, so do me a solid. Hit the sub button. It means a lot to me, and I appreciate all of you guys. But with that said, let's take a look at the Marco teams, and let's take a look at what the content actually does. Fight numero uno is against the Int variation, and on Battle 1, Driven, Powerhouse, and Cerebral characters get all the good stuff. Their Special Charge, Super Swap, Verse Effect, all that stuff, which is awesome, because Marco is a powerhouse. Yes, now that's the team you guys see on the screen there. On stage 2, there's 5 turns of damage reduction, 3 turns of bind on your middle row after sockets, and you get a full board of unfavorable orbs. On the final stage, the boss is immune to poison, delay, and defense down. That your friend captain gets stunned, your captain gets 5 turns of despair after sockets, 5 turns of paralysis, and an attack down of 90%, I'm assuming, if you're below a 3.0 chain boundary. The boss changes after level 31. Most of the time, you're not going to see level 31 for this, but this team can complete it. After the level 31, you get an extra turn of despair, extra turn of paralysis, and your middle and bottom row get special binded, which is very, very annoying. Now, obviously, this content is built for Dofi Croc, but it's also built for the new Whitebeard. Now, I do have the new Whitebeard on my team, but don't stress, there is a very easy replacement that you guys can actually bring that just sort of does the same thing as what Whitebeard actually does. And I've shown that with putting on Sanji to get around the stun regardless. But if you guys do have Whitebeard, you can easily just slap him on this particular team. So the team obviously is led by Marco. The idea of this particular team is we want to use the super class of Marco on turn 1. That's going to start giving us some cooldowns, and it's going to give us our auto trigger on stage 2, which means we can get the chain boost of Marco on the final stage. On stage 2, we have to get around damage reduction, and this is where this Sanji comes into play. This Sanji is great because he can not only remove the damage reduction, he gets rid of it by 5 turns, but he also has the support of pudding. Now, this pudding on the final stage cuts your HP by 20%, which was awesome to get around the stun. So if you guys don't have Whitebeard, you can just use this particular strat. If you have Whitebeard like me, just take pudding off. You don't actually need it. But with Whitebeard, what you want to do is actually use Whitebeard on stage 2, so that way you get a full board of tandem mobs, you get a chain boundary for 3 turns, and then on the next turn, you actually get the tap timing bonus. The problem with this is you won't actually get the tap timing because we're utilizing Marco and his chain boosting shenanigans for that final stage. However, what you could actually do is you could actually just save the super class and then utilize Whitebeard to get the chain boost, and you could easily use something like Whitey Bay on this one right here. Yeah, you can use the Whitey Bay on Marco, so that way you get a chain buff at the final stage anyway, and that way you can sort of just get the best of both worlds. I don't know if the chain, I think the tap timing would be better than the tap timing would be definitely better, so probably doing something like this would be just the way, would be the wave. If you don't have Whitey Bay, don't stress, like the tap timing of Whitebeard is just nice. You really just want him for his chain boundary. If you guys don't have Whitebeard, which I do understand a lot of people probably don't, you can easily just chuck on this Wano Law here. Wano Law is going to be a chain boundary unit for you guys anyway. He's also an orb booster though, so just be careful with that because you really want to be utilizing the Luffy orb boost. Now, Luffy's going to give you an orb boost for fighters, free spirits, and yeah, he just does fighter and free spirit, which unfortunately means that Whitebeard won't be getting the orb buff. But if you're using something like Law, he definitely will be. Now, the upside to using Luffy here is Luffy has the ace support, but another very good character you could actually use instead, which I'm actually just remembering, I totally forget about this guy, is this Luffy right here. So if you have the Film Red Luffy, he's just going to be a much better option, because if you already have an attack boost, Luffy's then going to be your orb booster, and this way at least he boosts Sai. Yeah, so this is just a much better option. I totally spaced on this Luffy. The big upside to using Luffy as well is that you really want to make sure that you have ace support to get around the bind. Finally, we have Jimbo. Mr. Jimbo is going to be our color affinity booster. He's a fighter character. He removes paralysis. He removes special blind. He does all the good stuff, and we're basically covered there. Oh, Luffy was to remove the despair. Yeah, right. Luffy also removes the despair, so that's going to be a big problem. That was why I actually had Luffers here. Okay, well, going back to this Luffy, this one right here, lots of changes coming your way. If you have this Luffy, he's going to be a much better option because he can actually not only remove the despair, but he's also going to be an orb boost. Now, it's only going to be a 2.25 orb boost, which kind of sucks, but he also gives chain multiplicative, so that's something fun. And this particular team should work wonders. So that's the team finalized. Like I said, if you don't have Whitebeard, you can use Law. It should work hunky-dory. Let's move on to the next variation. So the next variation is actually against Quick, and once again, Powerhouse characters are boosted, which means Marco works an absolute treat here, so you'd love to see it. Driven Slashers also get all the good stuff as well. And then on stage 2, there is a int slot barrier for 1 int orb for 2 turns, 5 turns of burn, and it's easier to hit your perfects, which means that obviously like the burn damage is going to see some sort of like resemblance. On the final stage, you get the boss puts up immunity for 99 turns for everything except for defense down. There's 5 turns of defense up. There's an intimidation for slot boost, 5 turns of despair after sockets, and then after level 31, again, you're probably not going to seal it after level 31, but the team can clear it. Defense up for 1 turn, spare up extra 1 turn, and then you can only use 2 specials for 1 turn. So they put that special limit. Now, as the previous one, like I said, it's made for like Dofi and Croc, but it's also made for the new Blackbeard. Now, you have the new Blackbeard to have a second variation for this particular team, but if you don't, this particular team's going to work absolutely fine. On stage 2, we're actually going to use the Treasure Map Blackbeard. He's going to remove the 2 turns of barriers. Again, we're going to pop Superclass on turn 1, so that way we have the attack boost on turn 2. Then we can use this to get an orb boost, as well as remove those barriers. We also get in orbs, which Marco makes matching, which is so good. This Blackbeard works so well under Marco. It's actually ridiculous. So not only do you remove the barrier, but you get around all those shenanigans. On stage 2, though, before that, we're actually going to use this Luffy special. Luffy will have enough cooldowns thanks to Marco and his crazy shenanigans, even though he's not actually boosted. I have him on 11 turn cooldown, but you can easily just like double bink Marco specials and super classes, and then use a Marco special on turn 2, and you'll have enough to actually get this Luffy going. However, if you don't, it is going to be a little bit of a problem. But you could also use something like the waifu support on him for extra cooldowns, and then try and move some shenanigans around there. But he's going to give us an orb boost, which we can carry into the final stage, which we won't have to worry about intimidation. Because he's 5 turns, even if it removes it by 1, or if we have the orb boost when we move into the final stage, it's not actually going to matter. But the chain multiplicative is also something that helps out a lot. On the final stage, ideally, we just want to use the Sanji special and the Marco special. Unfortunately, because we get despaired, we can't use the auto trigger of Marco. It's a little bit annoying, but we can get into conditional against defense down, which means we can use the Jinbei from Treasure Map. He's going to set defense to 0, and then I think he drastically reduces defense actually. And then he also, he drastically reduces defense, but he gives the conditional as well, which is awesome. But Sanji's just going to remove the defense up anyway, and then with the Zeph support, we can actually get color affinity. The idea of having the color affinity support, it means that we're going to get that after level 31, because after level 31, we can only use 2 specials, and unfortunately, none of these characters have that ability to remove that. So, like I said, ideally, we're just using Sanji and Marco on stage 3. If the burn is a problem, there is another Jinbei here, this one right here. Oh my god, why are my fingers so fat? There is another Jinbei that's the Clash Jinbei who can actually remove burn. I believe it's this Jinbei right. Is this V2? No, this is V2 Jinbei. I believe it's this Jinbei right here. He actually removes 6 turns of burn with his double special activation. So if the burn is a problem, we can easily just use this Jimbo there to remove the burn. But that's the first variation. The second variation looks a little bit like this. Now, I don't love this team, but if you have the new Blackbeard, he can definitely work well because he's a powerhouse character working underneath Marco. Now, the idea of this team is to use the Blackbeard special on turn 2, as well as the Garb special. This Garb will remove barriers, which is awesome, by 2 turns. And then he can swap out for your captain for 2 turns. Unfortunately, you have to cop that captain swap, which is just whatever. But once he becomes captain, he's a 4 times captain to the entire crew. So it should be fine. You'll have the attack boost of Marco. You'll have the orb boost of Blackbeard and the base stats of Blackbeard. And then you can use this carrot to actually get color affinity as well. Mainly just for Sanji on the final stage. And herself. But because you can only use 2 specials on the final stage after level 31, this team should actually work quite nicely. The downside to this team is you actually don't get Sanji's rush ability, like the other team, because you have Jinbei and, can't remember who the other Straw Hat was. You have Jinbei and the other Straw Hat. They are actually allowing you to get the rush ability of Sanji. So I do think the other team's probably going to have more damage regardless. But look, this is just another variation for you guys if you're looking for something with the new Blackbeard. The final variation is actually against Strength, and Dex, Quick, and Int characters get all the good stuff. Unfortunately, that means Marco does not, but makes it very easy to build out a Quick team, because they're all boosted. They also get Super Swap, Verse Effect, all that good stuff. On stage 2, there's 5 turns of Resilience and 3 turns of Special Bind. Very, very annoying combination. Like a disgustingly annoying combination. On the final stage, there is full immunity except for Delay. 1 turn of Special Reverse, locking the specials until 3 good taps. You get an attack down for 5 turns. Bind the middle and bottom row for 3 turns after sockets and after level 31. Again, you're probably not going to see this, but this team does take care of it. 1 turn of a 20-hit combo barrier, 1 extra turn of attack down, and a chain multiplier attack down if you're above a 3.75 chain lock. So, if you're 3.75, you're good, but anything above that is going to be an absolute problem, which is very, very annoying. Very, very annoying. Like, I don't like that they do this. Attack down when you're above a chain lock, or chain boundary, whatever you want to call it, it's just a disgusting mechanic. But we did put together a Marco team that should work very, very nicely for you guys. The upside to Marco is he can actually get around the special reverse on the final stage, which is super, super nice. The downside is that because you get the special lock, it is going to be very, very annoying to actually get your specials charged. However, Marco is the king of getting all the specials, and hopefully, fingers and toes crossed, you actually get all of the cooldowns for this particular team to operate. I do think you will. With a Marco Limit Break expanded, you definitely will. So make sure you bring a friend captain that does have one. But with double Marco, you're getting 2 turns of cooldown. With your sockets, you're getting another 2 turns, so you're on 4. With the ship, the anniversary ship still being boosted, you're getting 6. And then you can stall 2 turns on the first turn. You have the 2 super classes, which is 10. And then you have the, 9 because one doesn't give the other. And then you have the 2 auto triggers, which is 12. And you should be, and the 2 moving into the final stage. But then you get the 1 reverse. So you should be right on the money with this particular team. And hopefully it works. But if it doesn't, we can always just sort of sub out something like Boa. And bring in something like Hack to give us some cooldowns there. But ideally, on stage 2, we're going to use the free-to-play Nami body swap to become our captain for our free spirits and our fighters, being a 4 times captain. I do need to level up her special, apparently, or their special, and their sockets. That's atrocious. But basically, they remove 5 turns of special one and resilience, plus they give you a full board recovery orbs, which this team should be matching with, which is always nice. And then they'll just like swap out after. So once again, we're going to use the super class of Marco on turn 1. So that way we have the attack boost ready to go. And then we should be hunky-dory then. Getting Marco's attack boost on the final stage with the Whitey base support is going to remove the barrier after level 31. Like, that's a big hope. I really hope that's going to be enough. But if not, then we are going to have to sort of use something. We could easily use something like the support of Rakuyu. That could definitely work. But you definitely want to save a super class of Marco for the final stage to actually get that 1 turn of cooldown as well. You could probably use something like the auto triggers. That'll definitely work as well. But ideally, you want that chain boost on the final stage too. Utilizing Chopper is going to increase your attack and your orb boost as well. So that's why you ideally want to use the Marco special on the final stage, not use the auto trigger, because he also removes the 6 turns of attack down, which is super, super nice. The Red Rock Luffy and the Ace support gets around the 3 turns of bind, which is nice. Plus, Red Rock Luffy becomes your orb booster for your quick free spirits and fighter characters, which is awesome. And then finally, we have level limit break 5 Boa. Now, as I mentioned, you could easily replace this Boa with Hack if you need the extra cooldowns. But this Boa is really, really cool because if you have a Luffy on the team, she actually gives you a 2.25 times color affinity boost to free spirit characters, which this whole team is besides Marco. So that works nicely. But she also gives you a delay and self-proccing delay conditional because we have a Luffy on the team. So she provides a lot of extra damage, especially after level 30. And the idea here is if you hit a good with one of your Marcos, and then you basically start your chain after that, with the 1.4 that Marco gives, you'll finish your chain at a 3.7, which is perfect to stay under the cap of 3.75. I was thinking about bringing like a chain lock or something like that, but all the shenanigans this particular fight has makes it very, very finicky and very, very annoying to do so. But that's going to wrap up the Marco team video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there, belt like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. I will do a video, obviously, showcasing these teams and what changes and stuff like that when KIZUNA actually comes out. But if you are using these teams, let me know in the comment section below. While you're down there, belt like button, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, do all that good stuff. It helps me out a great deal. Much love to all of you. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in this beautiful world. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.